Hi, welcome to the Sake House. I am Rio Sake. I would record a previous video, the video that I guess I'm posting later on today, which is all of them at this point. I recorded that before this one, and I mentioned that I'm starting to get sick and that my throat hurts. Well, it feels like I have a fever now, but I've got to do this because I need to keep up with my non-existent schedule, or at least trying to establish such schedule. But yeah, welcome to my channel. Welcome to this build on The Sims. It's for the Oasis Let's Play that's going to start probably next week after I finish building everyone's houses in the apartment complex, which I plan to do today. Maybe. I might do the other house today. But I have ideas for that one, so I don't, we'll see how good, we'll see, you know. Anyway, I'd like to welcome y'all back to my channel. Sorry for the huskiness of my voice. I hope it sounds better. But who knows? This house was like, I recorded a whole other different house built for the same family, the Jindra family, and I didn't even like the house. So I literally just was like, die, and just removed it and re-recorded it and built this house, which I liked a whole lot better. I think this house has a lot more character than the first one did. You can kind of tell it's in the desert, which, you know, Oasis Bins or whatever the name of the map is. It's cool like that. It's set in the desert. But this house, I was like, I need to make sure they have 3 bedrooms, because in the other house, it was legit a trailer, and I could not fit enough space. I didn't have enough space. I couldn't fit like a couch or even a love seat decently, and I was just like, I can't make this any bigger, and I don't want to change it from its trailer setup. So I decided to just scratch that one. It was a cool house. If you hear any rustling, it's my dog on the bed. He's being cute and sleepy and tired. He's been barking at the neighbor for about, let's go 30 minutes straight, because he's doing something outside in his lawn and building something. I don't know, but Ninja, my pup, did not like it. So he ended up barking at him, and I'm over here moving wood in the garage because my dad bought some lumber, because they're going to build a bunk bed. And I had to get his attention because he could not handle whatever that was that's going on next door. The level of eye roll I have towards my dog sometimes is kind of impressive. Okay, so looking at this build, I like the counters in it. And I like these counters that I downloaded. They're custom and they're awesome and everything. But the corner pieces are like too wide on the back end. Like, yes, you won't see it through the wall, but I know it's there, partially because I have the walls I have the cutout version of the walls when I play usually, because line of sight is important, and I hate dealing with cameras in games sometimes. But that actually gets on my nerves a whole lot, trying to get the back of that corner counter right. But I don't think I actually changed these out. I think I was just like, deal with it. And then I'm like, all right, fine, then I will. I need to get more custom refrigerators and stuff like that. Though I do have a weird policy, like if the refrigerator that I put in is custom content, it has to cost at least, like a real refrigerator, because that frustrates me when things are too cheap, unnecessarily cheap. And it seems cheaty like that. Like, I don't like doing things cheatily. I don't know if that makes any sense either. But I don't like to cheap out on building when I build things. Like, I'm already doing enough cheating by building this house without having gone into the family first, and then it would cost money. But I figure not everyone has to start off with a freshly built house. You just move in and start making payments. That's how I see this. And so I'm okay with it. It's just a little bit more tailored by the time they get into it. Which is possible because when we moved into this house, we had the whole place built, new floors put. Well, the floors came like 2 years later, or not even 2 years, like a couple months later. But we had everything was painted before we got here because everything was white and white tile, and it was, I wouldn't say hideous, but it certainly wasn't good looking. And my mom wasn't going to have that. My mom likes to have pretty looking houses and whatnot. She likes to decorate and things like that. And it doesn't help that my sister's an interior designer too. So, like she went to school for that and everything. She didn't really need to, but learning theories of color and whatnot are important too. I struggled with this living room a little bit because I did not go to school for interior design. And so, I struggle. I always struggle with decorating places. I don't know how to do it or what to do with myself when I'm like, it's such a struggle. I don't know. Like, I understand color theory, but not when it relates to woods and whatnot. I can do it in graphic design, but interior design, spatial design, it's all bad for me. And I need to work on my use of lighting. I have some interesting, I do have some interesting lights. I just haven't had time to utilize them, and I really should. But luckily, I've gotten to a point where I can record 2 or 3 videos in a day, edit them slowly over the next few days, and get them up. And so I have the time to kind of play around on a different lot just to test out how I want to build something, which is what I did today for the apartment, which is kind of why I want to do the apartment next. But that would also entail me having to I couldn't figure out how this window worked. I was like, this is not a window, but it's an object. And I couldn't figure it out. And I finally was just like, whatever, it's not going to be used here. I just got distracted, which is such an easy thing for me to do. Excuse me. Let's see. I really enjoyed the layout of this house. It kind of reminded me of the house that I lived in as a kid, except it wasn't French design, except this one's not French design. The one that I lived in as a kid, you could walk a full circle around the house. Yes, you have to go through bedrooms and a hallway and past a bathroom, but you can make your way around the entire thing, and I thought that was the coolest. That house was built in 1941, and we bought it in 1985 or 6. Probably not even that long, because we moved here to Texas in 1984. Yeah, 1984. Yeah, and so when we moved into that house, it was really old. So we left in 2003. It was ridiculously old then. Like, there was a radiator in the wall, and I'm like, we've never had to use this thing. I think we took it out about 20 years, and like, maybe not. We didn't live there 20 years. We lived there 19. About 15 years in, we had to remove that radiator because it didn't make sense. It also didn't work, and we never used it because it's Southeast Texas. It's hot. It's what it does. Then we ended up, let's see. We made a lot of updates to that house. Childhood was fun. We're just going to say that. Childhood was fun. Okay. We made a lot of updates to the house, and we moved out in 2003, moved into another house. We hated that house. I hated that house. It was, no matter what you do, in Southeast Texas, or in the South in general, we have roaches, and not the little roaches, which I call dirty roaches. Means you need to clean your kitchen better. But the tree roaches, the ones that people usually think of when they think of roaches, the ones the size of your thumb, if not larger, and with weirdly long legs and disgusting, and want to crawl out at night, and they want to be still, like you can't see them, like a dark spot on a whitish floor. Yeah, those things, the ones that make you scream and want to abandon the house altogether. Yeah, that house had It didn't have so many of them, but we did have a lot of trees that caused us to have many of them. Like even the house that I used to live in as a kid, we lived on a plot of land, and then there was another plot that apparently came with our plot, so we had a field behind our house. And that field had 11 pecan trees, one pear tree, two fig trees, one tree that created honeysuckles and also lived the spawn of Satan, also known as wasps. Um, one raspberry tree bush, I should say, and one blackberry bush. In all that land, we had a bajillion trees. And because of that, we had a bajillion roaches. Now, we were good at keeping them out of the house for the most part. But sometimes you just can't stop that roller coaster. They still come in. They will sit in the worst places. Like they would come in because the house was so old. I'm sure there was some integrity to it. The integrity of the house was a bit lower by the time we got to it. And so there were holes that we couldn't even fathom where roaches would come in from. But we would I'd be going to the get a fork or something out of the drawer, open it, and it scutters away. And I cannot deal with roaches. I would slam that drawer shut. It got to a point where I was so paranoid in my childhood house that I would jiggle the handle on a door, especially if it's laundry room because it was outside, or on a drawer, just to make sure, hey, I'm coming in. I don't want to see you moving around, disappear from my sight before I even see you. And I would go open the drawer. I'd be like, okay, everything's good. In the second house we lived in, when we moved out of my childhood house, I actually stuffed towels underneath my door because I was not having roaches in my room. It was very effective. And in this house we currently live in, which I've lived more than just here too, but I lived in Michigan for a while and had my own apartment, but money is tight. Anyway, in this house that we currently live in, the only place we've really struggled with roaches is in the garage, and you really can't stop that roller coaster either. But we're working on the kids' rooms. I think this build actually came out pretty decent. I don't necessarily like gendered colors. We'll talk about that later on as this channel proceeds. But I don't like gendered colors. Like, I like the color blue. I don't like pink, but I don't think boys' rooms need to be blue and girls' rooms need to be pink. I think they need to be whatever color the kid wants. Or if the kid's too young, make it gender neutral. Make it green. Make it yellow. Make it anything. Unless the kid really does like blue. Anyway, I think we're coming up to the end of this build. I think as we're about 2 minutes away. I can't read timelines. I'm also really tired and sick still. I really enjoy trying to clutter up this house. I probably didn't do as well as I probably could have. I didn't put in any kids' toys. Because these kids are old enough to go out and play at a park. If I could speak, it would be great. Oh yes, and then I think the last house we actually work on, the last part of this house we work on, other than the landscaping, is this main bedroom for the father Merrick. I didn't know. I struggled with this room. I was like, there's too much space. Like, I don't have issue. I have issues because either the room has too little space or too much space and no in between. But I think I made it work on this one. I just wanted to make sure he had light in there and that he had some storage for stuff. He had a place for his clothing, some books. I mean, just kind of like a little sanctuary just for him. And if need be, the kids can come in and use the computer, but I won't let them be the ones to play computer like all day or anything. They have school, they have homework, they have their own desk to do things at. I really like those books that I put down, but then I was like, they're kind of all the same. So I actually ended up taking them out because I really like the elephant bookends because we actually have that. I tried a lot of stuff in that room. I wanted him to look organized, and I wanted him to, I wanted to kind of look used, like the headphones, like he normally would have those, but he was doing something and walked out of the room with them. And So I think we're now, yeah, we're now at the end. Screenshots.